Energy manipulation comes in all four fronts: communication line systems, traders, and how to use it through calculations. In a formation line center, we were talking about all levels of boundaries of what to do and what not to do. It's all levels of the avatar. You have to find the balance of the yin and the yang, or the yin will take over the yang and the yang will take over the yang, as you really understand your position of direction, location, line conditions. So I think what we're going to do today is basically we're going to separate your line center, your soul locations, put you in a matrix box, and you have to find a way to get out and find your system. To truly understand why it's so important to have a soul, because it's attachments of you, it's a vessel of you, it's a communication system of you, it's all levels of you, and so they all four fronts of you, north, west, south, and east. But taking it out of position, location of line conditions, what does that do? Then you understand the importance of its travels, right? Then you understand the importance of why not to separate location to its position, right? So everybody's going to be in a matrix line center in position locations, all right? Taking your souls out. It's going to be very powerful, and then you're going to respect yourself more, knowing exactly, well, that's great. I'm glad I know why I have a soul, why I have an inner child. So it's like an inner child trying to find its own system. It's an inner child trying to find you through the psychological system. It's the inner child trying to find you through the heart system of its garden. It's the inner child trying to find you through the ground system of the powers in the Emerson line system, right? Because if the mind starts controlling its system, it takes over the physical system of its heart, of its mind, and its soul. And the body has no control anymore. Okay? This goes on every single day. I'm just making that very well clear with everybody. Because you can manipulate situations, override, overpower anything through calculation. Stay in your own lane, stay in your own freedom, stay in your own sovereignty, stay in what you want to do through your discernment, stay in your surrender locations. Right? This is the importance that everybody has to understand. Why it's so important is just to focus on yourself. I know it's very hard. It's not the physical system's problem. It's the avatar of its mind problem. That problem is its issue that can be taken over, right? So it's kind of like you're trying to control the mind system, but you have no idea how to do it, right? Because all the physical system is all there through reaction. You're reacting to everything that goes on through locations. Okay? It's important to understand these things. Okay? So in calculation line center interference, we're going to go see the rainbow children first. Know exactly what it is through structure interference, knowing exactly how powerfully hard it is. Line center. Crew units and high center interference visited locations, coming in all coloration patterns, putting all line center to hologram structure locations. Forming high center purity light, communication of cycles. Cyclone line channel and interference positions, okay? 369,000 plateaus of interference of directions, okay? Going to Bermuda Triangle. Setting signals in position of directions, all right? So we're going to off-channel communication system, code signal line centers, crew units, squad unit line center interference, in position locations to all levels, coming into the GFL line center. The council communication system, the high line and rotation position, into all levels, coming into the ascended master communication, ascension gods. Okay, reverberate channels, high interference, set the course line channel in position of directions. Put everybody in high center locations in the Bermuda Triangle. All right. So it's all about understanding how to communicate with your system. That's the hardest part because all you're trying to do is how to control the mind system. The avatar is created through the heart line. That's the unified of its awakening. The brain creates the avatar. Okay. And the avatar lives in space. 3-line position locations. Now, it's your timeline frequency locations of your gateways, stargates, past, present, future. Past, present, future have to come into one. So in position directions, you have to release all line past lines, right? Or you're going to be huge problem with the mind adaptation system. The psychological understanding is the psychological interface that you are in position of directions. Truly understand that you are trying to understand you through the avatar, not the physical system. Nothing to do with the physical system. It's balancing the avatar of co-creation. That's what this is. You're co-creating what you've already co-created. And it's all levels of clocking. And that's why I want you guys to find your balance every time you get up in the morning. Where are you calculating from? Where are you going to and from? How important is it for me to stay in my own lane and not cross boundaries in any way and form? That's overriding. That's overpositioning. over calculating, over traveling, going places where you're not supposed to go, prohibited location, anything to spaceline. These are the things that you don't do, right? The Earth perception has that locations, places that you can't go, places that you're not allowed in, right? It's the same thing. But the problem is you don't have control of the mind, so the avatar takes over everything. It does what it wants to do, right? So that's a true understanding why you guys have to focus just on yourselves. If you're not sure, you travel. Okay, try to use the inner line center to your own voice location. Try to position your hind system location, getting back into the heart system, guys, because that's the controlling outcome. If you don't understand the outcome, you're manipulating the situation, which is master of communication, right? So it's important to understand that. Balance in you is all levels of the mind, the heart, and the body, and the soul. Now, if the 4-line center is taken over through the 5 position location, 6 activation, the 7-line center, your body, your heart, your mind, and your soul is taken over through the avatar. Now you're going to be chasing your own tail. You're going to get dizzy. Whoa, the avatar is controlling me now. Whoa, what's going on? Whoa. You have no control. You're getting things out of control, right? And that's what school does. Puts everything back in control. And how you use your thought patterns, how you use your calculations, how you use the mind system adaptation, right? And not override or overdrive or align center to all connection. You focus on you, you know exactly what you're doing through correlation, right? The only mistake that you can make is the mistake that's already created. Okay, now that's either done through the avatar understanding or the physical system doesn't understand the multiplication of what is going on with the mind. Psychointerference location of psychosis location line conditions alphabetical stream system. I don't understand E equals MC. What's going on line center? What's E equals MC squared? What's the calculation? What's time box? What's time frequency? What's time code? What's time equation? Why do I have to know all this? Well, it all has to do with survival in the 5th dimension. Okay. Now, the 369 platform is going to put everybody in direct locations back into purity of light, to its eternity of its mortality. But these things take time. You have to understand how to alter states the mind of its grounds, to its powers and its atmospheres. There's 3 waving central line communication system: the atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, and bio and baranium. But there's so many different levels of communication, which is all done through energy, vibration, frequencies, and harmonic resistance. And now, if you can't seem to balance out the position, location of directions and communicate with the telepathies, now you're overbounding its position, location, and directions. You're crossing boundaries. That's prohibited in the mind system. Because the thing is that you guys are starting to living in space. You're starting to understand the foundations of space. You understand the planets of position. You're starting to understand the intelligence, the coloration, the lights, and what you're seeing through line connections, how to get out of positions of dreams and get into visionary line connection, right? Of yourself, not each other, yourself, right? Not pointing fingers, not tattletaling, not telling what people to do. Obey this and obey that. Don't tell me what to do, right? You have a right to say these things. But the problem is the mind doesn't understand the difference of what it's eating or tasting or drinking or touching or feeling, exercising your emotion interference in position of direction. Okay, how to use all your senses of moving forward on what you want the manifestations, guys. Okay, because if you can't balance these things out, the avatar is going to manipulate the whole situation inside your connections of your heart. and take over your system of the central line of its alignments through space and time. Okay? Stay in your own lanes and you'll be fine. All right. In calculations are going to set the box sequence location, pattern line, center, interference, position, directions. Okay? That's the box line center. Okay. We're going to go with coloration path, rainbow line stream interference. Now, everything is done through equation line interference, but you have to understand what it's like to actually have all levels of manipulation taken over high system. Okay, that's one box line system. In calculations, now modify high center line in rotations in directions 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 position locations, right? Into the crews, the squads, everything to the GFLs, the rebellion line center interference, position of the locations to the ascending and ascension guide locations. All line center interference line directions. Okay, box and frequency high center locations, code and interference line conditions of positions, taking all line center to your souls in high position locations, right? All right, so you're locked in sequence, 30 minutes, have fun. Try to get out of the matrix lock interference. I took your souls. Calculation high stream interference of directions, putting you guys at allocate timelines. So in position of high system locations, try to understand how important it is to have your soul, your avatar, or find your inner child location. Have fun. All right. Do 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 do. All right, so how we doing? Barbara, how's it going? Jill, thanks very much for the upgrade location. So you guys are going to feel weird because your soul are now in a matrix box. You have to find a way to get out. All right, I'm showing you the importance how it is to really just stay in your own lanes. Understanding not crossing boundaries on any way and form, how important it is to have your own vessel of communication to your system. Know exactly what it's like to be separated. This is the heart system. All right, Sharon, Belinda, Terry, Don, Lindsay, Pam, Veronica, Abby, Airbender, Michael, Johnny, Sam, Chris. All right, so you know what it feels like because we've done it before. Just want to show you what the powers of the mind can be. So there you go. I feel disconnected, want to cry. See, there you go. Jessica wants to cry because she doesn't have a soul now. See, it's gone. It's in its matrix box. Now she has to find it. I'm putting this out to the team to understand how powerful it is, how you guys can be in position of directions, lost in signal, lost in activation, lost in lights, lost in calculation, lost in the mind of formation. So, time sequencing patterns on high interference locations, 28 minutes. I'll get you guys out. If you can't find your way outline center, I'll put you back in locations to your soul system. All right. I feel only low vibrations like this is no access to higher chakras, angry and sad. See, there you go. Now you're important to understand these things. So I don't want anybody in calculations. I'm doing this to everybody because I don't point fingers, okay, in that calculation NA system. So this is a lesson learned for everybody because I know what the team is doing. And the only way to do that is for everybody to go through that location. Right? Understand how powerful you are through the mind system. So remember, great power becomes great responsibility. Even though I feel the emptiness and focusing on what I need to do to get out, wiggling my arms free to get out of the straitjacket. Well, there you go. So it's like being in a straitjacket. Understand why I'm in a straitjacket. Right? So you feel helpless. You feel unwanted. You feel confused. You feel angry. You feel sad. You know, how things can be taken away. Right? Because you don't understand the balance. Right? I'm just showing you how powerful it is to do these things. Okay? So it's all position, location, and directions. Try to find it. You find it, kudos. Right? I feel like I'm done this before. I spent so long like this. No, the way out. This puts you in a better advantage. Why it's so important to understand these things, guys. Right? Because you don't want to take advantage of yourself or anybody else for that matter. And that's why this is being done in school today. Okay. So feeling the connection to physical line says programmed needing people instead of myself. This puts you back into your system locations, the unconditional loving yourself again, knowing how important it is, how something can be taken away. Right? And then you really start to care. Right? Focus on you guys. Hey, Zero. Zero's in. Hey, Zero. Clean your system. Yeah, that's a calculation I interference. So basically, that's what it is. Locking you guys in the matrix. Soul is in direct locations. You're in a dimensional setting. You have to find position location. So it's on this line connection, this line connection, this line connection, this line connections, this line connections, and this line connections. That's what it is. So your soul could be here. It 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 could be anywhere in position, location, and directions. Knowing exactly how important it is to have one. And all form line center. So we get a box interference location of its directions. Truly stand in line center location to its matrix. Ooh-ah. Right? So finding location and frequencies of the heart. Using telepathy to find soul. Say I use your GPS. Lock your signals in. You got a beacon light. Trying to get out of separation. Bring yourself back in communication. Balancing the mind system to its position location of its calculations, guys. All right? Oh, we didn't do this. Like it started to integrate back and slowly, feeling the warmth return and positive attitude about the day. I'm turning into my heart chakra, seeing the box. I'm turned inside out of the tesseract. Heart is key to avatar access. The access location of its position is its projection. Very good, Jill. See, I know the higher lines can do it, right? Because they know how important it is to have their position and all levels of travel. Right? So it's kind of like you taking advantage of a toy taken away because you don't know how to use it. It's the same thing because you don't appreciate it from inside. Right? So hot air balloon, bottom rocket control, descent dropped in a hole, turned the handle, found my soul, walked in the garden, flew tethers. There you go. Opening the heart. It's better to actually know exactly how to do these things. It's like all calculated. It's like you go on a scavenger hunt and you're trying to find it. You know, it's like, yeah, give it a big hug, you know, and then integrates right back inside you. So my soul is bouncing around, guarded in my heart space, walked down the path next to the river. Lava found the teleportation center and blasted back into space. Whee! Oh, there you go, Tyler. I see how I'm trying to solve physical line problems for self-esteem, realizing how powerful it is to have its position of its directions. Truly understand the mind is the conception of its position. That's interfacing, guys. You're interfacing your problems with your thoughts. Be cautious in how you delegate your system of travel, especially when you come into the altered states of the mind, right? So bringing yourself back together puts you in a better position, you know, why things were taken away in the first place. So facing my fears, allowing me to merge two into one. There you go. Merging back in. Woo! Feels so much better. Feel complete again. See? Chris did it. Yep. Connecting with the protection line, seeing the openings, closing up all protection portals. Don't leave me again. Well, there you go. Now you know how important it is to stay in your own lanes. Okay. Body buzzing, high rising, whole heart full. I felt really fast for me. I didn't really have any trouble at all. There you go. But you always learn something when you're separated, right? It's the how. It's how to put everything back together. That's what it is, guys, in provision. Okay. And then you look at things differently. Oh my gosh, I really do appreciate myself now. And you start recognizing yourself better. And you stop crossing boundaries with yourself and each other. Hooah. Okay, I need to spend more time with her. Well, there you go. So Sammy needs to spend more time with the inner child. She knows that. Location, clearing the waters, my heart garden, focusing on healing, found my soul connection with waters, cleared scene, many Fibonacci sing, those locations, symbols. Yeah. Stay in my lane, indeed, all over. Well, there you go. Right? It's powerful stuff, isn't it? Feel that body's coming into a body. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very emotional. Yeah. Connecting through a playground, I see her inner child. Found my inner child. Hiding in a tree was hard to find with all the fog, clearing the fog. Or there you go, Pyra. Rising up through powers in a heart space, centering all. And once you get your positions of your soul back, you can regenerate your line centers and uprise your computer, put you back into position locations, and really, again, give yourself a hug, knowing your soul is back, the inner child or its avatar of its computer operation. I'm seeing a lot of time, length, and reflects what my inner child needs. An amazing class. Well, there you go, Barbara. You know what it's like to have something taken away because you don't know how to use it yet? That's what parents do. You take advantage of situations, they take it away, right? No, did the same thing to know exactly why it's so important to have it in the first place. It's not the why, it's the how. So, seeing my inner child now, wiping tears, connecting, loving. While we have a really big position location of Q&A coming into Zoom afterwards. Because you're going to talk how powerful it is to have something taken away, knowing exactly why it was taken away. And the importance to understand when you get it back, you know exactly that you appreciate yourself more in that provision, right? And you say, so, wow, what an experience. And that's something you don't want to go through again, right? That is communication. How powerful it is when you channel inside. On all levels, all forms of you, all calculations of you, modification signals of you. It's putting yourself and how powerful it is to see yourself in every connection inside through transformation, merging into two and one line cis locations, right? I really know myself finally, so amazing. And that's a beautiful thing now, right? Looking for rainbow children, connecting, filling crystal grids to all those rainbows. Yeah, felt like a parent that lost a child in a crowded place. Remained calm and found solution. There you go. And he's found a solution. Okay. Chronos integrate with the hug, pressing the little me. There you go. See? Now, understanding why it's so important is to get into the grounds of your shadow works. Right? Why is so important to understand youth in the mind system of adaptation through its avatar stream. Right? So this is going to help you in the long run. Why it's so important, right? It puts you in a better position, location, and directions. And you feel the love that you never thought you would have. The unconditional of you is all levels of you. The heart starts recognizing you all over again and again and again and again. Every time you do a wrong, there's always a right. Now, that wrong is in position location of what you're doing in the first place. Is to take these things out of its equation and just to focus on you, nothing else, nothing more. right? This will help you evolve when you're in school. This will help you a better understanding what the mind is trying to do. Okay? It's trying to find its memory of who you are through truth. Truth will set you free, right? There you go. So, my heart recognized my soul. Pearls of wisdom activated, connections download, journals, heart line connections, balance in yourself, deleting programs of self worth. And once you guys come out of position locations and you got your souls back, you get a power line center, which helps you understand more of your locations, right? Understand more communication, inner child, your connection to your soul, or your avatar. Your 3-line centers commit to one position. Ooh-ah, back in calculation, all right? Feel the unconditional love. Focus your mind. The unconditional focus on the mind puts everything in collaboration, right? To the heart system. See the heart system? See how powerful it is? So it's important to understand what the heart represents to you and why it's so important to understand everything through formation because it sets its position of direction, especially when you're altering its communications and alteration to understand all levels of vibration, energy, and frequencies. It's the harmonics that keeps the balance to its avatar of its 8 central line, which is its telepathy. That's your infinity system. Telephone, telecommunication system, code weaving locations. It's all levels of you inside through the heart system. Right? The heart is the base of the command. This is where it's at. This is where life starts, right here, right here. It's where it starts. But this is where it begins. This is where it starts. This is where it begins. You understand? Starts and beginning are two different things. Right? The beginning process is the birth line center, the heart line into unified interference, wakes you up in position location to its filter line in 369 pattern, junction line interference location to 12 DNA, putting the process location to brain line center, creating the avatar position location system, open up the mind to space. Hallelujah. So in that position of calculations, now you understand why you have higher levels of altered states of the mind. You try to understand the 12D line center, which is your runway interference. You try to understand the platitude division locations of your 7 grounds and everything through 5 atmosphere locations. Now, once you get in your 12 line center, times 12 is 144. Bring you guys back home in calculation as crystal grids, right? This is the process where you interline this position location, interface high center line connections to more levels of the heart system. Okay? Keep it in track of your system. Put you in a better direction location of telepathy. Right? So you are communicating with you at a higher level of space. The physical system is starting to understand now. So if the physical system is understanding, which is a beautiful thing, it's a beautiful thing when the avatar understands you through the physical system. So it's no longer 2 into 1. It's just one you're dealing with, which is its yin and its yang. Ooh-ah. Okay. Rainbow fluoride crystal grid coming in from back and front through all chakras. Yep. Once your provisional location line connections comes in all signals, the 369 comes into 369 plateaus in different locations, directing you guys into rainbow children. Setting signal locations, seed pods, line centers, meteor showers, interference location line directions to understand why they are here. It's all forms of you through perception, right? So all levels of intelligence is you through perception. It's how you perceive your avatar travel through balance. It's balancing the heart. It's balancing the mind. It's balancing the body. and it's balancing the soul all in one. All right. You have to understand how to balance your 7 chakra lines into 5 atmosphere. That's 12. That's great. Fantastic. Now we can go to higher levels of space, the alter state location, get into higher levels of channels, the alpha, delta, theta, beta, and omega. Okay. Higher levels of T reception line. Understand more levels of the satellites, understanding more levels of the Fibonacci, understanding more levels of communication, understanding more levels of intelligence, understanding more coloration line conditions, understanding more line conditions of Space Command System. This is all done through the mind. You start absorbing you inside in all levels, start living in space and not just seeing space through perception. Once you understand more levels of memory, you start calculating, okay, knowing exactly what is going on with your timelines of travel through the avatar. As long as you stay in your lane, you're fine. But if you go off and wander, what are you doing to your system? You're losing memory of retention. Miscalculation, misformed, misconstrued locations of decisions that you make every single day of your life. Right? The prodigal system has to truly understand you through calculations on levels of light of travel. And that's where you come into your clocking lines. All right. So in position of directions, high center line conditions, over line center locations, 31, 50. All right. In calculation, high interference, time's up in calculations, bring it back in calculation line centers, put it back in soul generation light center information to its calculations. Computer adaptation in the heart line center. Here we go for the calculation. Back in calculation. All right. So knowing exactly what you guys experience is to understand why it's so powerful to be levels of the mind, how things can be taken away with a blink of an eye. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a lesson learned to know exactly to stay in your provisional occasion. This puts you in a better division of time. And it opens up more levels of space inside of you coming into your expansions of co-creating. Okay. So we got just over 10 minutes before we get on Zoom. So I really want you to really understand the importance, okay, how things can be taken away. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys on Zoom. Adios.